Most of the people you hang out with right now are going to end up exactly where they said they wouldn't. I know that sounds harsh, but I want you to really think about the people you talk to every day. Think about your group chat. Think about the people you game with, the people you text, the people you sit with at lunch or hang out with on the weekends. Listen to the things they say. Listen to how they talk about their future. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to travel, make money online, quit their stupid part-time job, and live a life where they actually have freedom. But look at what they actually do. They wake up exhausted. They grab their phone before they even sit up. They scroll on TikTok for 45 minutes. They complain about how tired they are. They complain about school. They complain about the economy. They complain that the system is rigged. And then, they go right back to playing video games. They go right back to scrolling. They go right back to the exact same habits that are keeping them stuck. That's insane. How is this normal? Why are we still doing this? We are living in the most abundant time in human history. You can literally build a massive business, learn any skill, and reach millions of people using the exact same piece of glass you use to watch memes. But most people don't. Most people never will. And the uncomfortable truth, the reality that nobody wants to admit, is that if you stay around these people, you are going to end up exactly like them. Your friends will stay broke. Not just broke financially. Broke in ambition. Broke in energy. Broke in freedom. And if you aren't careful, they are going to drag you down with them. Let's talk about why this happens. Gen Z has a serious problem right now. We were handed a weird world. We grew up watching traditional systems completely fall apart. We saw our parents work 40 hours a week for 40 years just to barely survive. We were told that if we just got good grades, went to college, and got a piece of paper, everything would work out. But we all know that's a lie now. We've seen the videos. We've seen the reality. College degrees are basically receipts for debt. Starting salaries can't even pay for a basic apartment in most cities. The traditional path is broken. And because of that, a lot of young people have just given up. They look at the world, they feel overwhelmed, and they choose to check out entirely. They retreat into comfort. Comfort is the ultimate drug of our generation. It's not necessarily drugs or alcohol anymore. It's doom scrolling. It's endless hours on Discord. It's binge watching shows you don't even care about. It's vaping, junk food, and cheap dopamine. People are slowly becoming numb. Look around you. Look at your friends. Do they look awake? Do they look like they actually have a direction in life? Or do they look like they're just floating, waiting for something to happen? Waiting for some magical day where they suddenly wake up with motivation and everything falls into place. That's the trap. Most people never realize this. They think they have time. They think, oh, I'm only 18, I'm only 20, I'm only 23. I'll figure it out later. But years disappear faster than you think. One day you're 19, joking around with your friends about how broke you are. Then you blink and you're 25. You're still broke, but it's not funny anymore. Then you're 30, and you're working a job you hate, living a life you never wanted, and you realize you spent your entire youth numbing yourself because it was easier than trying. Let that sink in. What kind of life is that? Do you really want that? Because the reality is, if you don't aggressively change your environment right now, that is the default path. That is where the current of society pulls you. Society doesn't want you to be ambitious. The algorithm doesn't want you to put your phone down and go learn a high-income skill. The system wants you distracted, anxious, and perfectly content being average. And sadly, your friends are probably the biggest enforcers of this system. I used to think my friends were my biggest supporters. For a long time, I surrounded myself with people who I thought were just like me. We talked about making money. We talked about getting out of our hometowns. We watched the same YouTube videos about self-improvement and business. But I started noticing a pattern. We would spend 3 hours on a Discord call talking about how we were going to start a YouTube channel, or learn video editing, or build an agency. We'd get super hyped up, and then nothing. The next day, nobody did anything. The next week, nobody did anything. Instead, I'd log on and see them playing Valorant for 6 hours. I'd send them a video about a new skill to learn, and they wouldn't even watch it. That's when it clicked for me. Most people love the idea of success. They love the aesthetic of self-improvement. They like talking about it because talking about it gives you a tiny hit of dopamine. It makes you feel like you're doing something, even when you're doing absolutely nothing. But the moment it requires actual, boring, unglamorous work, the moment it requires sitting alone in your room on a Friday night, staring at a screen, learning how to edit, or write, or code, while everyone else is out having fun, they fold. And this is where things get dangerous. Because when you actually start putting in the work, when you start pulling away from the cheap dopamine and the endless group chat conversations, your friends will notice. And they won't like it. You'll say, "Hey, I can't game tonight, I'm working on this project." And they'll say, "Bro, it's just one night. Don't be weird. You're not gonna get rich tonight." You'll say, "I'm trying to cut back on scrolling and focus on learning this skill." And they'll say, "Why are you taking everything so seriously all of a sudden? Relax." They will make you feel like you are the crazy one. Think about that. You are trying to improve your life. You are trying to escape a broken system. You are trying to build financial freedom so you don't have to suffer for the next 40 years. And they are telling you to relax. Why do they do this? It's not because they are evil. It's not because they secretly plot against you. It's because of a mirror effect. When you start taking your life seriously, you become a walking mirror to their mediocrity. Your hard work highlights their laziness. Your discipline highlights their excuses. If you actually succeed, it proves that the system isn't impossible to beat. It proves that their excuses about the economy, about luck, about their lack of time were entirely fake. And people hate that. It is far easier for them to pull you back down to their level than it is for them to rise up to yours. Nobody talks about this. We're told to be incredibly loyal to our friends. We're told to hold on to the people we grew up with. But holding on to people who are committed to going nowhere is a form of self-sabotage. If you are carrying a backpack full of rocks, you cannot swim to the surface. You will drown with them. But here's the part nobody talks about. And this is where everything changes. When you finally realize that your environment is holding you back, and you decide to outgrow your circle, it is going to be incredibly lonely. There is a gap. A massive, uncomfortable gap between the life you are leaving and the life you are trying to build. During this time, you won't fit in with your old friends anymore. They'll think you're weird. They'll stop inviting you to things. The group chats will go quiet. But you also won't have your new friends yet. You haven't succeeded yet. You haven't met the other ambitious people because you're still locked in your room grinding. This is the isolation phase. And this is exactly where 99% of Gen Z gives up. They sit in their room on a Saturday night. They see their old friends posting on their stories, laughing, hanging out, living completely carefree. They feel a heavy weight in their chest. They feel the loneliness. And they think, maybe I'm making a mistake. Maybe I should just be normal. Maybe I should just go back. Do not go back. I need you to understand something very clearly right now. Loneliness is not a punishment. Loneliness is the price of admission. Every single person who has ever built an extraordinary life, who has ever escaped the matrix of average living, had to walk through that exact same hallway of loneliness. You have to be willing to be misunderstood for a few years so you can live the rest of your life exactly how you want. Think of it like a test. Life is testing you to see if you actually want this. Do you just want the aesthetic of success? Or are you willing to sit in silence, face your own thoughts, and build something real? Because if you can survive the isolation phase, everything opens up. So, what is the new path? How do you actually escape this? It starts with a fundamental shift in how you view the internet. Right now, 98% of people are consumers. They consume content. They consume TikToks. They consume YouTube videos. They consume video games. They consume memes. They are feeding the machine. If you want to be free, if you want to actually make internet money and build a life of purpose, you have to cross over to the other side of the screen. You have to become a creator. I'm not just talking about becoming a YouTuber or a TikToker. I'm talking about creating value, learning a high-income skill, editing videos, writing copy, coding software, building websites, designing thumbnails, ghostwriting for creators. We live in an era where the creator economy is generating billions of dollars. 19-year-olds are making more money in a month from their laptop than their parents make in a year. That sounds like a scam to normal people. Your broke friends will absolutely tell you it's a scam. But it's not. It is just leverage. The internet allows you to learn a skill for free, reach out to someone on the other side of the planet, solve a problem for them, and get paid for it. You do not need permission. You do not need a degree. You do not need someone to pick you. You just need to be useful. But you cannot become useful if you are spending 6 hours a day consuming trash content and arguing in Discord servers. You have to reclaim your attention. Your attention is the most valuable currency you have. Every time you mindlessly scroll, you are taking your future energy and giving it away to a corporation. Every time you let your friends distract you with drama that doesn't matter, you are delaying your own freedom. You need to become incredibly protective of your time. Start treating your time like money, because it is. If someone came into your room and stole $100 from your wallet every single day, you would cut them out of your life immediately. You would be furious. But your friends steal hours of your time every single day with pointless conversations, complaints, and distractions. And you just let them. You have to stop. Here is what you actually need to do, starting tonight. First, accept that you cannot save your friends. This is a hard pill to swallow. You might love them. You might have known them since middle school. But you cannot force someone to be ambitious. You cannot inject drive into someone's veins. If they want to stay asleep, let them sleep. You have to focus on waking yourself up. Second, quietly step back. You don't need to send a dramatic paragraph to the group chat announcing your departure. You don't need to tell them they are broke and you are on a grind set. That's cringe. Just slowly detach. When they ask to play games for the 5th night in a row, just say, "I'm busy tonight." When they start complaining about how unfair life is, just don't engage. Starve the distractions. Third, pick one skill and disappear into it. Stop trying to learn 5 things at once. Stop watching 50 different business models on YouTube. Pick one thing. Video editing, writing, coding, sales. It genuinely doesn't matter which one you pick, as long as it solves a problem for someone else. And then commit to it for 6 months. Not 6 days, not 6 weeks, 6 months. Do you know what happens if you spend just 2 hours a day, completely focused, learning a skill and building a portfolio for 6 months? You become unrecognizable. You will literally bypass 90% of your competition because 90% of people cannot focus for more than 10 minutes without checking their phone. Discipline is the new superpower. In a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can sit still and focus wins everything. I think a lot of people feel exactly what I'm talking about right now. You're watching this video, and somewhere deep down, you know I'm right. You've felt this friction for a while. You've looked at your life, you've looked at the people around you, and a quiet voice in your head has been whispering, "I don't belong here anymore." Listen to that voice. That is your intuition telling you that you are capable of more than this. I don't want to spend my life half asleep. I don't want to wake up at 40 years old, look back, and realize I traded my potential so I could fit in with people who didn't even care about their own lives. We're capable of more than this. You are capable of more than this. But you have to take ownership. Nobody is coming to save you. There is no rescue boat coming. There is no magical moment where you will suddenly feel motivated forever. Motivation is a myth. The people who escape the system don't do it because they feel perfectly motivated every day. They do it because they are terrified of being average. They do it because the pain of staying the same finally became greater than the pain of changing. You have to manufacture that urgency. Look at the trajectory of your life right now. If you change absolutely nothing, if you keep the same friends, keep the same habits, keep consuming the same content, where will you be in 5 years? You know exactly where you'll be. You'll be right here. Just 5 years older, 5 years more tired, 5 years deeper into the trap. That thought should terrify you, but here is the beautiful part. You still have time. Whether you are 15, 18, 22, or 25, you have time. You can make a decision today that completely alters the timeline of your life. You can decide that you are no longer going to be a passive participant in your own existence. You can decide to become intentional. Imagine what your life could look like a year from now. Imagine having a skill that pays you regardless of where you are in the world. Imagine waking up without an alarm clock. Imagine opening your laptop, doing deeply fulfilling work for a few hours, and then having the rest of the day to read, train, travel, and actually live. Imagine being surrounded by a new circle of friends. Friends who don't drag you down. Friends who actually inspire you. People who talk about ideas, not other people. People who are building things, pushing boundaries, and actively designing their lives. That reality exists. I promise you, it exists. But the bridge to get there is built on the sacrifices you make today. You have to sacrifice the comfort of your current identity. You have to sacrifice the cheap dopamine. And yes, you have to sacrifice the friendships that are anchoring you to a life you no longer want. It is going to be hard. It is going to be lonely. But when you finally cross that bridge, when you finally look back at the life you left behind, you will realize it was the greatest decision you ever made. Don't waste years waiting for permission. Don't waste your youth sitting in a Discord call, complaining about the world while other people are out there conquering it. The people who escape this life usually start small. They start by closing the app. They start by sitting in silence. They start by making one hard decision. Look at your circle. Look at your habits. Look at your life. Your friends will stay broke, but you don't have to. Start building something now.